it would just, and as far as spring, I don't have an answer. I don't know if the attorney has an answer of why spring took the lead, other than.
And
just real quickly, Spring volunteered early on to take the lead as far as, and that's why they actually did, Miss Williams. Nothing any more than that. They're definitely no more qualified, if they are as qualified as our folks. It's just they volunteered.
Yeah, I just thought Adam said rock, paper, scissors, and just like.
It was a little more formal than that, but not much, yes.
Okay. Okay, so, and I'm okay with that. And initially, I was like, well, what makes them more qualified? But, you know, at the end of the day, we're all forging this opportunity together. The other question that I had was, I guess the bigger concern is this was an effort by our board. And I know that by law, there are certain areas that we're not going to get into the weeds of in driving. But in reviewing it, honestly, I begin to feel a little disconnected. So, you know, and I'm going to trust, but we're going to verify too. So.
Let me pick up from where you left off right there, because I just don't understand how this bypassed the board or the committee, you know, and came straight to the board. And we've heard nothing on the Disparity Committee. And both of these amendments here, these non-consents, go directly to something that I feel should have come to Disparity Board first. Committee first, with the subcommittee that recommends things to this board. And now we're sitting here and we've got two things that have been agreed upon in some way without us having any knowledge of it whatsoever.
So if I may, in the last time the committee met, I think at that point in time, there were terms that weren't agreeable in legal sense between lawyers, between the county,
Right.
about the dollars, the grant dollars and so forth. And so there was a long period of time where lawyers were bantling back versions of the agreements between the county and the school districts, as well as I think all three school districts were coming into knowing who they are and how they're participating. So there's probably some alignment between districts of knowing exactly what we're getting into, and it coming to light once we could see the more finalized requirements of the county. So my apologies for not bringing it back to the Disparity Committee. We obviously, we don't want to bystep that as a process. If the board would rather us pull it from the agenda and bring it to the Disparity Committee, we can do that.
Mr. Woods,
The thing is, I just think it's being done out of order, especially the next one. I mean, you're bringing it directly to the board, and I feel that the board has a process that we've implemented with a subcommittee. Then you should come to the committee, which we had been meeting, and we were supposed to meet after an agreement, or there was a possibility for agreement coming. But now it's being brought directly here to this board without the subcommittee knowing anything about what happened and how this even came about.
So I'm gonna kind of, my apologies for interrupting. I'm gonna kind of let Mr. Woods off the hook on that, because it was not totally done in isolation. As we go back, and Attorney Nichols knows that I think if the committee remembers, the item was redlined, lots of legal terms. And so what we asked, and I think we did provide permission to the team to make sure that all those red lines were completed. And Mr. Nichols, you can also share, there have been some things that happened with the county in which delayed it, and then when they started moving forward.
Ms. Williams, I'm very well with that. That has been stated for almost the last 8 months. But what I am not in agreement with is to come directly to when we commissioned them to go ahead and do it. And then they did not come back to us and let us know what was happening. We were waiting for that county and other problems to resolve themselves, and then possibly we could talk to Spring and the other, Aldine and the other ones, to have a meeting of the minds together. But we did not have a meeting of the minds. We had a bypass of the committee directly to the board. And I just think that's been done out of order. Like this one and the next one is being done out of order. And I apologize. I'm not angry about it, but it's just...
No apologies necessary, Pastor Patrick. We want to be decent and in order, so we will pull those two items to allow the committee to be able to have some time, if that is all right with Ms. McBride, because we do want to give you all time to be able to review the documents, have the necessary conversations, and then bring it back before this group if that works for the team.
The only question I would have with that strategy, Dr. Mays, is are we under any timelines with either the two other entities or the county that would make that problematic?
There we go. That better? Sorry about that. So the issue came about, and Pastor Patrick, part of the issue is that there was some significant delays, and I won't point fingers, but let's just say there was significant delays for a long period of time. And then all of a sudden those delays resolved themselves, and then very quickly after that, the county asked if we could have this done by the end of this month, asked all the ISDs. So that's why it came so quickly at the very end. So,
I can appreciate that, Eric, but again, we have a proper procedure by which we should go through, at least inform.
I followed
Trustee
Patrick.
Patrick could if we could just hear out the rest of his comments.
So that's the reason it came in the speed that it did. So just so the board understands, and I think I had mentioned this to at least a couple of you. So Aldine ISD has already enacted both of these on 6/13. Spring ISD takes this up on 6/27. So the county had just asked us if we could actually take care of it this month. We can always, do it through the committee. I think that they would be fine with that. It's just more from a standpoint they had requested it, hence why we tried to move it at a lot faster speed than we would have otherwise. So that's why it did not go to the committee and came straight to the board. And understand as well that, this is by no means a final document from the standpoint of acquiring the entity that's actually going to do our study. This is just to get the ball rolling, and the county hadn't even voted on their portion of it yet. So no money has been received or anything else. This is to roll out the RFP, number one, and this is to enter into the initial on the ILA for we would accept it once something is procured. But no money is going to be received. Nothing else is going to be done until we go through the RFP process, and then that's going to come back to the board because you will have to enter into a contract with that particular vendor for it to go forward, if that helps at all.
Okay, so Trustee Patrick, thank you.
I said what I need to say.
I feel it's been done out of order, and I understand the urgency of it, but we have means by which we can contact persons and call immediate meetings so that we can work through the boards that have been established. For what reason do you have a subcommittee if you're not going to go through it, whether it be Congress or whether it be a school board? If you're going to work through that committee, inform them and let them know so that we can inform you as far as what's happening. Otherwise, we're just doing nothing.
One second. I believe we have, thank you, Trustee Patrick. Trustee Key?
I agree with you, Pastor Patrick, that things were not done in the order that would have been optimal. I agree with that. However, given the short timeline that we have and the fact that we've already waited 8 months, is that what you said, 8 months when we started this? Maybe longer. And given that getting 3 school districts, the county, is it the city too?
Just the
No.
county.
Just the county.
Just Harris County and Spring, Aldine, and Alief.
And it's very difficult to get everybody together to do that. I would like to move forward tonight, even knowing that it was not done in the optimum order that we would wish it had been done. And noting that for the future, so that it doesn't happen again. So that when we have a committee that's working on something that we've at least touched base prior to it coming for a vote.
I have just a
Thank you,
question or
Trustee
comment.
Key. Trustee Moreno?
Yes, I know we have a posted agenda meeting for next Tuesday.
Right.
Retreat. And
Yep.
so my thing is, I don't know how hard it is to get that committee together
Yep.
or get information between now and Friday before it's posted, and then maybe bring it to meeting on Tuesday. We'll all be back here together on Tuesday for a retreat meeting and maybe have it done
So
at that point.
We're
So-
aligned on that, and that's what we were going to suggest,
Yeah.
to get a committee time, and then bring it back, like you said, for that next meeting.
And I do agree with you, Pastor. Is why we have committees if the committees are not being utilized? But I guess that's a learning, and I'm sure that message is very clear to Dr. Mays now.
Yep.
And I don't think hopefully we won't have that incident, moving forward. But I think it's really thank you for bringing that as a board member, as a fellow board. Thank you for bringing that up to us as we're having this discussion.
So let me make it absolutely clear. I am ecstatic. I'm happy that this is happening. I'm just disappointed that it didn't follow the correct guidelines. I hope it'll never happen again.
Yes, sir, and mea culpa on my part, but I also, in our intention, we thought we were doing what the board committee and the board as a whole wanted us to do in expediting the process, but I understand now. So I will make sure that in the future that we bring those drafts back through the proper subcommittee before we come to a board.
Thank you. Thank you to my colleagues for your comments and discussion. Thank you,
Madam
Mr.
President,
Wood.
if I may.
Yes.
If I may. I just wanted to add real quick, as the chair of that committee, I do appreciate Dr. Patrick for bringing that to the light. I mean, I took it kind of lightly because I was thinking we're here and now. I also want to give thanks to Trustee Moreno because as a committee chair, that would have been the problem. The committee has to meet and then it would have to come before the board. So thanks for bringing to our attention. So following this, we will have to determine the committee meeting that has to occur prior to the meeting on Tuesday. And I'm okay with that. Meanwhile, since this information has come to light, we would like for any questions concerning what has been discussed already to go through Superintendent Mays, and that he will filter and send it through the committee chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Williams, and for the entire board for the conversation and the discussion, and to Mr. Woods. So at this point, we are going to table agenda items 6.2, 7.2, and 7.3. We're not moving backwards, okay? 7.2 and 7.3.
You are postponing those items. You're not moving
Okay,
it.
so
you're going to postpone it until next Tuesday's retreat.
Okay, so agenda items 7.2 and 7.3 will be postponed till next Tuesday, the next Tuesday retreat. So I believe that is June the 27th.
That's correct.
2023. Okay, thank you. We are now ready to consider agenda item 7.4, nominate a delegate and alternate to attend the delegate assembly at the TASA-TASB convention